Welcome to Lesson 10 in the Executive Leadership Series. This is the last one. I hope that through the course of these webinars you've learned tips and tricks and things that you need to know to help make your business run a little better. Today we're going to talk about audit-proofing your business. How can we make sure that if we do get audited, we come out on top? There is no guarantee that you'll never be audited. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. But if we get audited and we can come out on top, isn't that just as good? Number one, accept that you are in business. Accept that if you are in business, you have got to run it like a business. You cannot just go out and do whatever you do. I'm an accountant. I can't just go out and do taxes and not worry about everything else, the administrative things, all the headaches. So just accept right now that there are things that you have to do as a business owner. Now, if you do not want to do them, that's fine. But make sure that you hire somebody to do it. You cannot let it slide. If you want to grow, if you want to feel good about yourself, if you want to run this thing like a business, you've got to just accept that there are things that you have to do. That's the hardest part. Second, find your business entity. Everything that you do depends upon what entity you're in. If you want to save money, you're going to have to spend the time to research which business entity is best for you and then find out what loopholes you can exploit in each one. There is no right entity for everybody. So talk to somebody who knows, talk to an attorney, talk to your tax guy, find out which business entity is best for you and for your goals, and then plan your business structure around that. Like I said before, this is a business. You have got to decide if you are a business or a hobby. If you are a hobby, then we shouldn't even be talking right now because this has nothing to do with you. If you're going to run it like a business, then you need to keep track of your contacts, your schedule, your mileage, all of your receipts. You've got to be on top of what is going on in your company. Otherwise, you're never going to know what's going on. In case of an audit, there's going to be records everywhere. You're not going to know what's going on, and it's just not going to be fun. So realize that you are in business. Run it like a business, and run a tight ship because you will feel much better about yourself if you are on top of things. One of my first jobs right out of college, I had a boss who was a roofing contractor. The first thing he said when I sat down was, he said, "I know how to do your job. I just don't want to." He had taken business classes. He had taken accounting classes. If he had to, he could do my job, but he didn't want to because he wanted to run the company. But I couldn't pull anything over on him because he knew how to read the financial statements just as well as I did. So run it like a business. Number 4, keep your books straight. It is really not that expensive to hire a bookkeeper. You can get some that are really expensive, but you can get people from the Philippines and from India to do it for $12 an hour. And I've used them, and they're not bad at all. They're not bad at all. You don't have the instant access where you can just pick up the phone and call them. But if all that you're worried about is getting your books done every month, there are so many options out there. You can get really expensive ones. You can get pretty cheap ones. But just make sure that your books are taken care of every month. That way, any questions that you have, any checks you don't have, any receipts you don't have, you can still find them. You can answer any questions you have on a monthly basis. 3 years down the road when you're being audited, you cannot remember everything. So please, take the time, set up your bookkeeping, make sure that it is getting done at least on a monthly basis. Number 5, please pay your taxes. We've gone over all the tax forms of the due dates in a prior webinar, but if you don't remember, there is no shame in asking for help. This is something that is so important. If you don't get your taxes done, then you're going to have it on the back of your mind forever. It is just going to wear on you. And then pretty soon, you're going to be so far behind, you're not going to know what to do. Stay on top of your taxes. Stay on top of your bookkeeping. Make sure that your bookkeeper understands the due dates and things that need to happen so that we are always on top of things. Look for any pre-tax deductions that you can. There are two types of money. There's pre-tax and post-tax. Post-tax money is you've already paid your taxes and then you spend the money. Anything that you can take out pre-tax, which means that you make the expense before you pay your taxes, that means that you pay less tax. Like some retirement plans, 401k, SEP, simple plans, we've talked about those in other webinars. If you take that money out pre-tax, number one, you're funding your own retirement, which is not a bad thing. Number two, you are paying less taxes. Life insurance, not so much. Health insurance, if you are in an entity where you can pay medical expenses, if you can pay them pre-tax, that's much better than paying it after tax. HSAs and any transportation programs, anything that you can do pre-tax, take advantage of it. Yes, these things take a little more planning and study, but they're worth it in the end. Number 7, if you can, hire your family. We've discussed before that the family has got to be 7 years or older before you can hire them. They have got to have a job description. You have to pay a reasonable wage, and you have to pay them with a check. Now, the benefit to doing that, let's say that your daughter is getting married in next year, and she wants a $10,000 wedding. We just talked about pre-tax and post-tax money, didn't we? Generally, what happens is you earn the money, you pay the taxes, then you shell out $10,000 for her wedding. How about if you put her to work in your business with a legitimate job? I'm not talking about just letting her float. No. A legitimate job, and she earns the money. Then every dime she makes, or a good portion of it, she puts it in the bank. When you do your taxes, you write off that money as wages or independent contractors or however you're going to do it. And you've paid for her wedding and you got a tax deduction. Isn't that better? Your kids can have their Nintendo fund. Let me go back. You can have a Nintendo fund, or you can pay your children and put the money in an IRA. You can put that in an education fund. If they want to go to boys camp, girls camp, whatever, if they work in the business, you get to deduct the amount that you pay them as a business expense. They get to earn the money, and you are essentially deducting all of their activities as a business expense. That's not a bad thing. So if you are in an entity, which is any unincorporated entity, that's the sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, along those lines, anything but an S or a C corp, then if you hire a family, you are saving money. And you're teaching them a valuable skill that you have to work for what you get. That's not a bad thing. Number 8, it's never too early to think about retirement planning. Now, one of the big things I hear about tax planning retirement planning, is people say, if I put $5,000 in to my retirement plan, I only get to pay $1,500 less in taxes. It's not dollar for dollar. So what's the point? The point is you need to be saving for your retirement anyway. So if you can save for your retirement and save taxes at the same time, that's not a bad thing. So we have to think long term. We can't think this short-term mentality, poor boy mentality. We have to think long term. My business is going to grow. I need to take care of myself later on. So find the best retirement plan that you can, one that fits your goals and fits your budget and fits your needs, and stick to it. And if you do it pre-tax, so much the better. Number 9, identify possible tax deduction expenses. We've talked about travel, meals, entertainment, education, work-specific clothing, all kinds of things. Now, this is the most important thing. This is a little bonus thing here for you here. This is the most important word in the English language when it comes to taxes. If you ask your accountant, hey, can I deduct my trip to Disneyland? He's going to say no, because normally you can't. But if you come up to him and say, how can I deduct my trip to Disneyland? Then your brain starts cranking, starts thinking, and you can come up with ways that you can. How can I deduct my trip to Costa Rica? How can I deduct my trip to Europe? How can I deduct my car? How can I deduct my stereo? How can I deduct my golf trips? How can I deduct my scuba diving trip? It's all how. If you just ask yes or no questions, you will generally get a no answer. But if you come up with a question that starts with how, your brain is automatically pre-programmed to start answering that question. It might mean that you have to jump through some hoops, that you have to structure your trips a little differently, that you have to structure the way you do things. But if you seriously want to deduct the cost of your items, there is a way. If you want to buy a boat and you want to deduct that on your taxes, there is a way. It might be that you have to start a whole new business. I don't know. But there is a way if you use the right words. Okay? Number 10, you need a tax coach. Now, when I talk about a tax coach, what I'm talking about is somebody who does more than just plug the numbers in your tax return. Those are a dime a dozen. You need to find somebody who knows why the numbers go there, and you need to find a person who understands the big picture, who understands how you can figure out ways to not pay taxes. That is the hardest thing to find because most tax preparers are just getting into the mode of, give me your receipts, I'll fill out your tax return and call it good. That is not what you need. If you are serious about growing your business, saving money, making sure that everything is buttoned down in taxes, you need to find somebody who understands how to make things work for you. I do not mean shady. I will take a walk to the edge of the cliff and I will dangle my toes over, but I will not jump. Remember, if you get audited, your tax preparer does not get audited. You get audited. So you have to explain everything. You might want to go beat him up later, but in the meantime, you get audited. So you need to find somebody who understands taxes, understands deductions, and somebody who you can bounce things off of to help you save money. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that this has been beneficial to you. If you have any other questions, please feel free to give me a holler. Otherwise, I'm going to see you at the finish line. Bye-bye.